All right, good evening, everybody. Ooh, that's loud. Mic check. Is that good? That's better. Okay. All right, we're gonna do a little something real quick, a little different than what we normally do before I do roll call. October 23rd, 2019. Our secretary, Melissa Bellotti. What's that? 20. Sorry, I wish it was 2019. Uh, our secretary resigned um, due to certain reasons that I'm really not going to get into. So we have been, we kind of found one right away. We've always loved her, and know she'll do a great job. Her name is Lexi King, the beautiful wife of Glenn King, our commissioner. We've known her. I've known her for a few years now, and she's always done things for the league, such as uniforms, stuff like that, special projects, and has always been valued here at Royal Palm Beach Baseball. I would like to, before I make a motion, does anybody else want to make comments about Lexi King?
She's beautiful.
In that case, I would like to make a motion to vote her in as our acting secretary until elections.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
All right,
Come
get
on
up here,
down.
Lexi.
As long as your microphone works. All right. In that case, let's do roll call. President is here. Vice President,
Here.
Treasurer, Secretary, Commissioner,
Here.
Member at Large Gene, Member at Large Tony. Softball Commissioner is already here.
Here.
All right. All right. Did we? Previous minutes. Did everybody get an email copy of them? The last meeting was October.
There was no one taking minutes at the last meeting because the secretary at that time was not here, but was asked to go back and review the video and write them. And I don't think she did because she quit before we came back.
If I'm not mistaken, it was a pretty quick meeting. If I'm not mistaken, it was a pretty quick meeting.
Yeah.
It was about as exciting as this
I
one.
was going to say, Lexi, do you mind going to YouTube and just rewatching it and writing some bullet points, and that will
Absolutely.
both of them next time. Thank you, Lex.
So make sure on the agenda for January, we put voting minutes for October and December. No, no board meeting. All right, let's start with the president's report. All right, I got a few things I want to talk about. First of all, I want to talk about our reviews. As a league, we have to do a review every year. This is something I wasn't aware of until the past 6 months. Got them all done. Luckily, a big shout out to DeSalvo and Associates. They were able to go back and do our previous 3-year reviews free of charge. It was a huge help. A normal review is $2,500 a year. So
Can we get a banner for them made to
yes,
hang at our park?
even though they do not want any publicity whatsoever about it, I did make them some banana bread. Homemade banana bread. You
I mean,
enjoyed it?
they can look like they were just a sponsor of a team.
Yeah,
Just
I mean,
put a banner at our park for them.
yeah, we can even sponsor a team if just without them even knowing. It's just, I mean, it was such a great help and a huge financial help on our end for that. On that part, knowing that we have to use my pay $2,500 a year for review and set aside another $300 to $500 for tax return. So what I am going to do, and I have ready for next board meeting, I'm going to do a complete 2021 budget. So we have it for the whole year, so we know what we need to pay for, spend, set aside, all that stuff. I've never seen a budget at Royal Palm Beach Baseball. So, I'll have that done for the next board meeting for January. And we'll start from there because, there's so many items that go into it between not just the reviews and the taxes, the operating costs, the baseballs, the umpires, the chartering, the insurance. It honestly never ends. So I'll have that all done for our next board meeting, and hopefully it can be a staple for seasons to come for everybody, whoever's in charge, and be more organized and no hidden surprises, stuff like that. Resident fees, non-resident fees. Did you get the email that Amy sent about on addresses and stuff? Is there a total on how much we owe for that yet, so I can take care of that? No. Okay. No problem. I just want to make sure we're caught up in everything. I don't,
Yeah, I'll make sure I have that finalized to you, and I'll get those numbers to you.
no worry. Okay, no problem.
Was-
I want to have a check for you guys. I want to take care of it. And
Was the spreadsheet I sent you what you needed as far as like you need the physical address, city, obviously state, but and the zip code?
Yeah,
Okay. I just wasn't sure if you just needed zip codes, if you just needed city. I wasn't sure what you needed.
yeah, no, street address, city, and zip, but it really mainly goes by the street address.
Okay.
all right. We need the men of the board. I need your help. We need to figure out a day. I have a bunch of banners that I need to hang in the park. I figure if we can get together, we can have them done in a half hour, one morning, one weekend, whatever. I mean, whatever's good for everybody. We got a bunch of banners this season through sponsorships and stuff like that. I want to make sure. Yeah, most of them. Yeah, the ones that came from Payne already have eyelets. I'll get some zip ties. I'm pretty sure all our zip ties are gone that we had in. Okay. Even better. Perfect.
There's
I just want to make sure we're strategic about where we put them because I really don't want to put them in the line of sight of the fields right now because due to COVID, with everyone spread out along the fence. So I'm thinking high up on backstops, stuff like that. Maybe out in the back of bleachers.
there's a bunch of zip ties in one of the drawers in the equipment room because I always am constantly moving them to get to something else.
I know I took a bunch from for the batting cages, but I'll get to that in a minute. So I need help with the banners. We'll pick a day. I will throw it on the thread and pick a day. I talked to Lou a few weeks back about the tournaments. He was going to get back to me on January. If you want to mention to him, I was looking at the January 23rd and 24th, if possible. I mean, if you want to ask him, I can call him, either whatever you want me to do. I know the numbers are sucking again.
Yeah. Well, I actually brought it up today in a staff meeting about January. So he's waiting on the official word from
Okay. And like I said, we'll make it a mandatory mask ordeal if we have to. I mean, we'll have to, but we'll go as strict as we have to go. We just want to get this going.
Get it going. Yeah.
Full.
The 23 and 24.
Isn't that the same day as evaluations?
No, the evaluations are on Monday and Tuesday.
Oh, I will say this if they ask or whatever. Palm Beach County is going to hold their first softball tournament since COVID. Santa Slam next weekend, which is going to be at Lake Lytle, Lake Charleston, like at a bunch of different. What's the one over here? Seminole Palms. So Palm Beach County is allowing tournaments again.
I already went over. I mean, I
Yeah.
talked to them about
I
the
ju- I
baseball
just-
ones.
Well, it's the first softball one that hasn't been canceled. We actually get to play. So I just wanted to throw that out
How
there.
many more days you got?
We got 3 more days.
There's
Yeah.
time for it to be canceled.
I know they are going forward with them throughout the county with tournaments. I know here they've been a little stricter with it, but he's still trying to check and see if that's going to change for January. I know we had our golf tournament, our scholarship golf tournament that was supposed to happen in January. That last week just got canceled. So right now it's kind of all still in limbo, but
We
yeah,
can pray.
we'll see, and I'll let you know.
All right. You can pray. All right. Tournament. I would like to, if possible, set up a walkthrough through the fields with you guys next week.
Yeah.
Definitely want to have Rich there, yourself, even Danny, who
Okay.
works the fields on a regular basis. I have a few ideas. It's worth a shot on some stuff at the fields. But I figure I'm not gonna blab them off right now, but I think you guys will like them. There's some good ideas. So,
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be good. That's actually I was gonna mention that in my report about the field closures and what did you all notice, anything that needed to be
oh yeah, there's one of the biggest things. We already know about the clay issue, and Danny has already told me, and you guys have told me about you're gonna be adding clay on all the fields. Field 2 has just been. It almost seems like when they did the lights, I don't know if they went inside on those fields at all, but during the wet season, I noticed, and I've never seen this before. On the infield itself was holding water on the grass. I've never seen water held on the grass. It looks like it's been indented and tore up.
Hmm.
An idea to fix all that is just turning it into a completely clay infield, getting rid of the grass itself, and just making it clay, and just making build them out from there. That's
Okay.
one of the many ideas.
Mhm.
2 and 3 is definitely clogged.
Yeah, I don't know it to the extent of what they did with them, but I do know from the last storm when they backed up, they did have to go in and clean them out, um, but don't know to what extent or how. Just getting it all. Yeah. Okay. Mark that down. Be silty.
Yeah. Yeah. Field 2's one of the things. Cages is a huge thing. Um, Cages a big thing is not only that they're falling apart, they're hanging down. The L screens are completely shot. People are getting hurt in them, and actually on that point, it's a constant battle fighting with the people that shouldn't be in there during our time during rec season. I am I am getting into shouting matches. I almost went to blows with a guy like 3 weeks ago during playoffs. I mean, this guy refused. We're in the middle of getting our teams ready for playoffs, warming them up in the cages, hitting, and this guy refused to get out of the cage, cussing at me, didn't care who I was a total, you know what, and I kept my cool in front of the players. I wasn't gonna. He was the one making himself look like a, you know.
Yeah.
But it's a constant battle. I mean, there's got to be a solution to that. Signage has to be put up. Permitted, people, permitted people have priority or something.
Hmm.
Some signage or even putting a combination lock on there during rec season. Just during rec season. I mean, not necessarily on the weekends, but during the week. That's the biggest problem.
Weekdays.
Yeah, weekdays. You know, when we. Yeah, I mean
Okay.
something. I mean, we have to find. I know it's a public park. I've heard that a million times,
Yeah.
but something has to be done. And you got all these people in there destroying those nets, destroying them. Yeah. And
Out of there.
honestly,
Yeah, that-
Jason, who does our travel, he's the one that paid for them last time and put them on there. But they're already destroyed, and they were good nets.
Mhm.
But and that was with 5 months of closure.
I think
Yeah.
the biggest, the easiest thing is just a sign that says permitted teams have priority.
Priority, you know. And
Yeah.
And that's it. You don't even have to say during Rex. It's irrelevant.
Like
Permitted teams have priority.
Example tonight, our travel
That
team was
works.
using the cages tonight, and they got forced to use the one cage that was hanging down because you got people in the other cages just, doing their own thing and not abiding to the team that actually paid money to use them.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
not giving them any respect. And Jason doesn't want to get in fights with anybody. He's not going to sit there and argue with the guys. He's just going to go take the crappy cage that, you know, that's fallen down, hitting him in the head, and they're using that cage right now.
Even apply to us. It's permitted.
Yeah.
Anybody who
Yeah.
has paid for the permit, the cage goes with the field. The cage goes with the field. You know what I mean? They get priority. If they're not
Mhm.
using it, then use it. But permitted teams have priority. That would, that's
Yeah, I'll see what we can do about the signage or even a combination lock. I
Just
like
during
that
the
idea
season,
on
like
it too.
right now, it's it's not. The travel teams aren't using. A sign would probably be real beneficial. But I don't want to keep the people from not using the cages if no one's there.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a never-ending battle. I mean, if I call park support, who never answers anyway, I mean, they're supposed to come and kick him out. They don't want to do it either.
Yeah.
The last thing they want to do is get in a confrontation with somebody. And I don't blame them. I've been told to do that. Call park support. They're not gonna. Number one, they don't answer. Number two, they shouldn't have to come and kick them out of there.
Yeah.
So,
No, they shouldn't. That's and even with that, with park support, being on call and being able to answer, that's something we have to address too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah, if we're calling you, it's because they
Yeah, I
didn't
get the
answer
call. Yeah, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, we'll. I'm glad you brought that to my attention. I'll definitely address that and see what we can get worked out at the cages. While we're on it, what do you want to get with me? Maybe after the meeting or sometime during the week. Just let me know what time you want to schedule that meeting.
Yeah, usually around 3 o'clock is always a perfect time. I don't know if 2:30, 3 o'clock
Okay.
is always good. I know the grounds like Danny gets off at 3:30. So whatever's good for you guys. I mean, I can get out of work 2:30 every day. So yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'll get with Rich and find a time, and I'll send out a scheduled meeting
Okay.
and send it to
perfect.
everybody.
I won't be able to be there, but my biggest thing is Field 3 at Farron.
Where it
Field
puddles
three-
up.
Field 3 at Farron is always my go-to.
Other than that, that's all I got for the president's report. Vice President.
Season went well. We had enough baseballs and softballs to complete the season, so we estimated good. And we'll need to go through and figure out how many baseballs and softballs we'll need for spring, and get those purchased, hopefully beginning of January. Um, our new website is live. It does not have baseballlrpb.com as its address right this second because I have to get some kind of IP address. I was unaware of needing that to make it go onto our GoDaddy thing. Um, but we do have about 15 people registered already with our new website. So I've been playing with the new website, and it's much easier to transfer people. It's much easy. Like it has a button for scholarships if they're going to be a scholarship kit. Like it's a dream. I'm so excited.
Make sure you teach other people how to use it.
Well, me and Lexi and Jesse have been doing a standing lunch date on Thursdays, so I'm going to bring my laptop to Thursday lunch date and teach. Well, we said it last Thursday. And teach them how to do it. I did want to ask. I'm going to send for our email. Me and Ed are currently the only ones that answer the emails, and it's very exhausting and daunting for two people to do it by yourselves. So I'm going to send you, Jesse, and you, Lexi, the login and the password to get into it. So that way, I mean, if it's something that you don't know, then text me or Ed and say, hey, whatever. The only thing I ask is when you do answer something, just say when you end it, say thank you and your name, because it's gonna always say Ed, and they're gonna always call you Ed, even though you're the one answering it. But just make sure you put it on there so that we know who to go back to if we get a response and we don't know what's going on.
You guys don't want to be an Ed.
But other than that, I think the season went well. I do want to find out. I don't know if this is the right part. Maybe it's more at the end with new business. But what kind of penalties can we enforce on a coach other than not being able to be a coach again, who have a hissy fit and don't play their final game because they didn't like the way things went? Because I have a team that did not get to play. Okay, I'll wait for that one. Other than that, we're good.
Treasurer's report.
Is it better now? No. It's on. I don't know. Hello? Better?
Yes.
Oh, there it is. Okay. In our main account, we have $11,924.49. Our second account, we have an ending balance of $7,954.33. And in our third account, we have $2,254.95. And either tonight or tomorrow, I will get the P&Ls emailed.
Also, there's a few things that we haven't paid for. I just want to throw this out there. We still have trophies to pay for the season and non-resident fees.
Oh, and we still have the cash from
Concessions.
concessions.
That'll be
That's
the-
not in yet.
I actually got a donation today for equipment,
Oh, nice.
$350 check from the Elks Lodge. So,
Can I ask a question? So it's just salt on my wound. We just went through fall, COVID, and all of that. And yes, we have a few bills to pay. And even if they're generally substantial, we don't have 69 cents in one account. And this dude, I needed to clear that. So I'm seeing this right.
Yeah, we're in good
Okay.
shape.
I believe the biggest reason is that we have, like I said, probably one of the most complete boards right now, and everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. I think that goes a long way. We have a concessions manager that's doing what she's supposed to be doing, and everybody on this board is doing what they're supposed to be doing. That's the real issue, So it was a very good season despite all the COVID issues and all that. You know, and I appreciate it because we needed this. It we're back on track. It's been and we're gonna keep going, and it's gonna be even a better spring now. So let's keep up the good work. Secretary, I'm gonna skip you because I probably don't think you have a report. Secretary usually doesn't have a report, but if there's ever a report you want to give, you're more than welcome to give. Okay, no problem. Baseball commissioner report. You, on the other hand, get to it.
Yeah. It was there weren't a whole lot of issues as far as a lot of complaining. It was a relatively quiet season. My biggest thing that I got hit with was the field conditions and so many things being canceled and rescheduled, which we went over last night in our workshop. But other than that, there was very little complaints about much of anything. It was a pretty quiet season. We did go through the playoffs good. Everything played out pretty good. The playoffs weren't really lopsided. A couple of the divisions, the people won who we thought were going to win, but in the end, the championship games ended up being, within 5 or 6 runs of, so it everything worked out good. It was, I think it was a pretty good season. Most of my issues, believe it or not, were on softball side. So baseball was relatively quiet, and I don't know if it was because of the fact that softball was overshadowing them this season. But even in softball, everything went pretty good. You're always going to have your disgruntled people, but other than that, it was a good season. Umpires we have to talk about, but we didn't have an issue with missing any, which we've had every year. Every season for the last 6 seasons, we've been missing umpires, and we didn't have that this season. Granted, one time, but granted, a couple of the umpires shouldn't be umpires, but other than that, they were here. Which is a plus. That's one thing we didn't have to really deal with that we always have to deal with. So that's what I got.
One more thing, Glenn. The process for next season, the managers, and stuff. The process has already started for that, correct? I think we did have a good group for the most part on managers. I would hopefully like to see them all return. Yeah.
I'll be reaching out to everybody who was a manager or coach this last COVID fall and the prior spring. I usually go back two sessions because you get different people come in spring than in fall. So that's where we're at.
Good stuff. Anything else, sir? All right, softball commissioner, you're up.
I think softball went fine, except for the end. Softball was good. It had some hiccups. Unfortunately, I had to beg and steal for coaches and certain ages, so they had some issues, for lack of a better term. But in a whole, it was good. We only had one C word incident in 12U, and that was at the end, but it was handled properly and with the village's approval. Other than that, everything was fine. No. For once.
Mancuso. Uh, Mancuso was actually a scholar and a gentleman. Um, anything else, softball commissioner? All right. All right. Last up is our wonderful village report. Mr. Brandon, you're up.
Yeah, so we touched on it about meeting, going over the fields, what needs to be done with them during the closures and what can be improved. I got the field closure schedules here right now. It's odd number fields except for field number 5, November 23rd through December 21st. Field 5 is going to go down December 10th through January 10th, and then the even number fields, December 21st through January 25th. So, for our last meeting with the schedule that we got, that you're going to be doing for the spring, all fields should be open for the start of evals, so they'll be all good to go. The 25th. So that first day of evals that was on the schedule, they'll all be open and good to go. Um, I gave Jesse a calendar list that I had in my office of just of the documents and when financials are due. I'll pass one out to everybody here. I think I have enough copies, but it just goes over when all of the documents are due, financials, CPA reviews, nonprofit certification, all of that. That way, we have it all and know the dates when they're coming up and which meetings you'll need to have everything ready for.
That's
And then-
awesome. I never had a schedule before.
Yeah, I got some copies here, so I get one out to you here in a minute. It, and then other than that, the tournaments, like I said, I did mention tournaments in our staff meeting today just to see if we can get another answer. So that's still on the tables. And going forward with the spring, we do still need a COVID guidelines. So even though we're hopefully moving out of it, we'll still, just like we did for the fall, just the COVID guidelines. That way we can submit it for approval. Once that gets approved, then
The guidelines are going to stay the same. There's only going to be one little twerk I think we're going to do is we're going to use the bleachers for the team, and we're going to put 6-foot markers on the bleachers.
okay.
I think it'll be a better control the team because the teams.
Yeah.
And we're gonna work on every team having somebody, having the coaches designate somebody every week or every game, kind of like a snack schedule. Well, you're gonna have a babysitting schedule. There's gonna be a parent, standing by those bleachers, making sure, especially the young crowds. The older kids, not so much. Staying separated, staying seated, watching the game, trying to stay in the game, all that good stuff.
Okay.
And that way we won't have to have them lined up down the fence. The parents will still be lined up down the fence, but I looked at them. It's there's a lot more room on them than you think. Well, yeah. Yeah. I think it'd be easier on the coach to know where his team is. I had even in
Can
Babe
I-
Ruth, I had an issue with where's Noah? He's off under the tree somewhere talking to his girlfriend.
Um,
You know.
can I ask or make a suggestion or an asterisk to that rule. Like, I know my team, like softball, we had no problem with the lining up along the fence. The girls liked it. So if a team wants to line up against the fence, can they instead of doing the bleachers? Because
I want the teams to stay involved in the game. It seems like when they go on the other side of the fence and they're, you know, yeah, and you know, I think they'll stay more involved in the game if they're sitting there staring at the game in the bleachers instead of, eating French fries with their mom or a hot dog.
you don't think they're going to do that on the bleachers?
Yeah.
I, I, I was just asking if we could, like, if a team wanted to stay along the fence, if they could.
And then, were they staying 6 feet apart all on that fence too? Because that was another issue. Yeah. Yeah. Well, not everybody's as efficient as Eugene. That if there's a change, that's the only change. Good.
Yeah, that's all I got.
All right, no worries. All right, if that's the case, I'd like to make a motion to vote in all the reports, starting with the president's report, vice president's report, treasurer's report, commissioner's report, softball commissioner's report, secretary's report, and the village report.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
All right. New business. Before we go to the workshop, let's please talk about your situation real quick. I want to get over.
Okay, so I want to know how we can. My problem is a team had an issue with me, which is fine. I don't care. However, because they had this issue. First, it was because they were upset that they drew the number 2 in the playoffs, which they were told at drafts we were drawing numbers and this is where you play. It doesn't matter what you do. So they're upset about that. And then someone on another team potentially had COVID and was tested and then found out to have COVID a couple days later. But this person was never around that team. So then they said it was unsafe and they quit their whole team. The coaches forfeited all the rest of their 2 games. I don't think that's fair to the girls that are on that team that may have wanted to play. But I did have a way to contact them, but I was being so attacked by these people. They were calling the village on me, saying I was trying to harm their children, that I cared more about my vendetta with a certain person than I cared about these girls, which if anybody's around me for 10 minutes knows that's not true, that I care more about softball than I do anything else. So I want to know what kind of repercussions can be placed and what kind of a system can we put in place to where coaches cannot make that call, because that's not fair.
We have a manager's code of conduct in
Correct.
place, correct? Now, in that code of conduct, it says that a manager is responsible for participating in all scheduled practices, all scheduled games,
Correct.
etc., etc. Unfortunately, it was the last game of the season when they decided to do this, or the last
It
whatever
was 2 games. Yeah.
2 games, the playoffs.
It was they forfeited the playoffs and they did not want to reschedule our last game, because it all started with me wanting to reschedule a Saturday game to a Friday, and they were not happy about that because of a travel game, which was the only travel game that was interfering with rec, which was a
And to
makeup
be
game
honest with you,
anyways.
I think this might have been this is kind of a failure on my part. I think we should, as soon as you were getting attacked and everything, we should have assigned our 2-member larges to dissolve the situation. No, not saying you guys didn't do anything wrong. I think yeah, I think this is something that we got to get these 2 guys more involved in settling these disputes. That, yeah, I think they're 2 big guys and very intimidating.
I mean, if you guys knew half of how I was attacked, you would be
Yeah.
like flabbergasted. I was basically told I was trying to kill people's children.
The thing, I guess, to answer your question, we need to make sure we have their name,
Yeah.
and they can't manage her again. That's what.
Yeah,
that's what we
But it's
can
not
do to
just the
them.
manager. It's the well, it was a manager.
Martin too.
It was the manager. Her husband was a coach, and then Martin was a coach.
Well, the next time that this happens, because if it happened in baseball, I would, reach out to that team, and myself or the member larges or somebody else are going to step in and make sure them kids play their last 2 games.
Yeah.
If, unless it's a whole coup and the whole team is in it, but we will make every effort.
Yeah.
So we need to do the same thing in softball. If it happens again, this is,
Yeah.
for this time being right now, this is a softball baseball board.
Yeah.
So if it happens again, we find out as soon as possible, it goes on the board thread, and then we resolve it at that
Yeah.
point.
If
That's-
they're-
My biggest issue with it is that these coaches caused a cancer in that team and made people that like I have friends on that team. I mean, I have friends all over softball. I know just about everybody in softball. That were telling me the things, and they said, "Well, it's unsafe to play softball. Let's go out to dinner because that's safe. Let's eat around a table with no mask on, but not socially distance at a field." Thank you. But so this is why it was more about me and not about what they were saying it was about. Yes.
I mean, you're absolute. I mean, it was a breach of the manager's code of conduct. The manager should have been relieved, and we should have tried to get that team somehow to play those last 2 games. And I think the procedure that needs to be put in place is Tony and Gene, taking over unless they're directly involved with the situation. They're the disciplinary enforcers. Yeah.
They should be allowed to have responsible charge over any other team.
Yeah. But this is just another learning curve that I think we'll better handle in the spring. That's the way I want to take it and use it as a learning process, a learning lesson. What's that? Yeah. Well, for sure, she is. From what I hear and got out from the whole situation, she will not be returning anyway. But
That's what I got too.
yeah, so if she does return, I don't know where she's gonna go. If her kids ever play softball again, I don't know where they're gonna go play. Regardless of the situation, hopefully the other players do come back. And luckily, I am moving up to 12U softball, so I'll be taking over a team in first spot. So, but hopefully we have more than 3 teams.
We should. I think even with COVID, we had 3 teams, so we should have 4 in the spring, if not 5. Which would be
We
great.
gotta stay away from odd numbers, right,
I
Jesse?
would love to. I would love to stay away from odd numbers and close registration once we hit a certain number. I'm just saying.
But yeah, we'll take it, and we'll definitely have the procedure in place.
And I do want to go on record and be very clear that I followed every guideline and was told that I followed every guideline to the T.
I was called by Brendan and Lou himself, and we all came to the same conclusion. So
But I just want to make sure if anybody goes back and watches this, any of those players on that team, I did not do anything that I was not supposed to. I went actually above and beyond what I was supposed to.
once again, I never got an email to me from her. I never got a call from her to me. Nothing. It sounded like it was a personal vendetta. They wanted to, instead of using the chain of command at Royal Palm Beach Baseball, and Martin knows me very well. He knows I'm very easy to talk to, very easy to approach. I know Martin since the day I stepped on this field 8 years ago. So I just believe that it was, just a no-win situation.
I agree.
And I apologize. No one should have to go through being attacked or harassed about that stuff. And I mean, I shouldn't have to apologize, but I'm sorry it happened.
I mean, I should have told you guys what was going on, to be honest, but I was trying to just make it stop.
Yeah. Well, I think if we got Tony and Gene involved, they would have made it stop. And you just stepped aside. Just get an outside. We need to use. The one thing I like about this board is I think we all get along, and I think we can work very well together. And I think using those two
Well, the last
would have been a good
conversation
thing.
I did. I mean, sometimes I'm a dictator, but
So I think one of those two might
Um,
or one of those two might have to take my job one day.
I do want to say in the last communications I had with her, I said if you have any issue, moving forward, I will no longer be speaking with you. Please email the board. And she said I was the one that answered those emails, which is not true. Me and you answered them, but so I just left it at that and never spoke to her again.
Okay. All right, let's hit the workshop. We had a work. Yeah, this is. It's in the workshop. I know what you're gonna say. Yeah, we're gonna go over. Yeah, yeah. Where were you last night? Cancun? Were you in Cancun this time? Or? Oh, okay. I get you. Oh, that happened not too long ago. All right, workshop. Yep. Mhm. Oh, you didn't bring the workshop notes. All right, sweet. I'll get. Here you go. All right, we'll run down this stuff real quick. Actually, I got my notes too. All right. There's only a few things that. Oh, another issue, field issue. Um, and I can actually talk about this when we do the walkthrough. But a lot of the managers will like to see double bags in the 8U divisions and down at first base due to the like they have at Farron for softball. Um, yeah, there's been a lot of issues with collisions and stuff at first base. It's rec baseball. They're not their footwork's not as good yet. So trying to avoid collisions, having that double bag would make it a lot easier for the runners to run through the bag and not stop. And we're looking at, the T-ball fields 8-1 for that, just on first base.
Just first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm hoping we're gonna have it on the two T-ball fields too, because that's a big thing I want to talk about at our work group. Um, let's see. Some of the stuff we need to work on with our umpires. A lot of umpire stuff. Using following through with the one base overthrow rule. Wasn't being followed this year. Once there's one base advancement on an overthrow, the play stops. That wasn't being done in 6U. Was 8U an issue too on it? Yeah. Just a lot more umpire stuff in 8U and softball. Yeah, yeah, that's all umpire stuff. Yeah. All right. Yeah. One of the big, we did talk about is having this top of the line umpires for championship games, and also having in 8U and 6U having two umpires during the championship game. Um, the old gentleman. Yeah, I know. Oh, I completely forgot all about that. His father umpires, or who's? Does anybody know what's his name? The dad. All right. Yeah, that'll. I'll talk to Danny about that too. Um, yeah. Okay. This is something else too. I want to bring up. These umpires. When we do the umpires clinic, you guys are all welcome to come and to discuss these issues, so we can work on them with them. And Danny's always at them. Yeah. I did the T-ball and 8U one, and I actually did it in a scrimmage, and I actually went over everything. Even going out and forcing the play, and that's but none of it retained. I don't. I wanted to basically tell Danny, we need to find different umpires.
Didn't we used to print out the rules or something and give them to the umpires? Like our park rules, not the Babe Ruth rules, but didn't we used
Yeah,
to
we used to have them on a card.
Well, I mean, it's on the website.
But they're also instructed during these clinics about, hey, this is, you need to,
Study this. There's
study
gonna be a
these
test.
rules. This is how it works. Our park rules, Babe Ruth, MLB. That's the chain of command on rules. Um, Obviously, none of it retained. I mean, it seems like it all went in one ear and out the other. Um,
Is it too much to ask to do, like, give them the things and then do, like, a multiple choice test?
yeah.
I mean, I'm not talking about for, like, well, I mean, maybe even adults, but especially, like, the kids. Yeah. I mean, is that going too far, asking them to take a air quotes written test?
Even I screwed up on the pitch count.
In the past,
I
um, if you get caught
it really
over
didn't.
pitching a kid,
I was leaving some kills on
the
this.
manager gets suspended for one game.
Shocker.
So I mean, if he gets caught.
Imagine if he wasn't there. What? No, imagine if your dad wasn't there that season. Okay. All right. Some of the stuff that we need to vote on. The first one, and I think everybody's in agreement with this, is the the rule that Gene brought up about in the fall season, the number one pick, who gets the number one pick, either gets that pick or they get number one seed. And you take your pick. It's your choice.
I don't think should give them a choice. I think if you draw number one, you get to draft number one, and then you're the last draw in the draft.
Fine with that too.
If you gave it up to me, I would take the number one pick. I wouldn't care about
Yeah.
the draw.
I think we should just make it like Amy said. So if you want to make a motion, please make a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that if you, in fall, only when we do drawing of numbers, if you draw number one, you get to draft first, but you're the last team in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So just reverse the order.
Okay. I think he's gonna choose the player. If he's
I'd rather not give him a choice because it's going to confuse
Because then
things.
it's going to get too confusing,
Well,
and
the
then
big thing was, everybody thought, Angel included, he thought it was, oh, you're just trying, they want to see the drawing.
they were there for the drawing. They
Yeah.
drew their own numbers.
Yeah, this year. But then you gave them both, it didn't matter to me anyway, but you gave him both. You gave him first round and the first round bye. So he didn't win a game, he won one game all year, and he got a second place. That you need to avoid.
I mean, other than the fact that the team quit, I don't even think we won one game, and we got to go automatically to the championship game because there was only 3 teams, and we drew first.
We were the same.
So
Well, I drew last. I second.
All in favor?
I
Okay, this is important. These rules need to be.
yeah,
So
Set
that's,
aside.
so I just said aye, but we voted on reversing. Your first pick and your last.
Correct.
And I would have the first round bye.
And that's just for fall, right? Spring is based
yeah,
on
because
rank on
in
rank.
spring you spring.
Spring is cutthroat and the complaining gets worse.
Oh yeah, so much more fun.
All right. Another item: the unlimited runs in the final inning. Glenn.
Yes, I was thinking, we were talking about, you can't, it's harder to restrict the time, because in a championship game, you have to play 6 innings if there's no mercy, no run. 6 innings. Well, in 12, it says 7. And
It depends on your division and what you're playing, softball or baseball.
My point is, it's harder to regulate the time, so I think the rule I was talking about suggesting instead of unlimited runs in the last inning, either 10 or 12 runs.
Capping off.
Cap it off at 10 or 12. Is it 12 you do? Everything, because, I mean, the point is, you get up there and you can't limit the time. The only way to limit how long this game could actually last is putting it 10 or 12 runs back on the last inning. If a team is down 12 runs, they aren't going to catch them 99% of the time. But they'll play, it could, the team who's better that bats visitors, bats first, could score 30 runs. And this other team might not even get up.
But there's not a run limit at all in 12U anyway. So I think 12U and up is fine the way it is.
Yeah.
10U and down there should be.
The only changes in 12U should be 6 innings. If you're coming from 6, right? From 10U? Yeah.
We've never had a problem with 7 innings.
It was just, even the umpires, they actually, even though the lights went out, they were leaving 6 innings, they were backing up and leaving. Thank God the lights went out, so they had an excuse or whatever. But yeah, so 10U down is what we're talking about. 10U should be 6 innings.
It is 6 innings. It should be a 10-run cap on that final
They
inning.
still have the 5-run cap. Yeah. So, yeah, that makes sense. Just double it in the last inning. More than that, you're getting ridiculous. Like your team could have batted forever in 10U if you were playing another team.
I'm fine with it. Make a motion, and we'll.
End up in a tie that way, though. If you
No, there's no ties. It's
But
Well,
if
you
you
can tie
if you
and go
pick-
into a Kansas City
Kansas City.
tiebreaker.
oh, Kansas City. That's
you
right.
need to
Okay.
push your button.
So I make a motion for everything 10U and down to limit the runs in the final inning to 10
Of a championship game.
of a championship game to 10.
I second.
All in favor? Aye.
Okay. One of the other subjects, evaluations. I think we should just do this as a trial. I'm talking about evaluating the players, not freezes. That one's next. Evaluations. For the spring, I think we should give the old routine that we used to do back in the day. Is you have a league evaluator, then you You take their numbers, and then you also take all the managers' numbers. What they after the evaluations, they bring their eval sheets to the front, and they make a copy. Yes, they make. You gotta fill them out. They make a copy, and what we do the average. We put all the numbers together and do an average for the draft board. Um, I don't think we should vote it in our rules. I think we should do it as a trial basis for the spring. See how it goes. Aye. Freezes. I personally think we should leave it where it is at 3.
I second.
No, we're not going more because that just causes more problems. I know. I mean, we can vote on it. We can vote on it. You can make a motion to vote on it if you want, but
I'm with 3.
I'm happy with 3.
I'm happy with 3 too.
Oh, brother.
Was that a motion?
No, we didn't even.
We didn't do anything.
No, we're leaving
We're
it
not
alone. We're not
changing
changing
it.
it.
Yeah.
I think another trial. It should be a trial. Is the pitcher catcher thing. After evals, you can do a pitcher catcher. If anybody wants to try out for pitching and catching, or not try out, but show that if they can pitch and catch after the normal evals,
So,
you tell everybody to, hey, if you're a pitcher and catcher, wait till the end of evals, so we can see you pitch or catch.
so I'd like to make a motion that we do normal evals.
Yep.
And then after evals, and you tell each kid and their parent when they come to get up their number, if you would like to be a pitcher or a catcher, please stay after to do a pitching and catching evaluation. And then that way, we know who the pitchers and catchers are. We can mark them down.
That's a great idea because you need like some people are top heavy pitchers, and your first round pick is going to be a catcher, so you want to know.
And that's the point of it. So on the draft board, they got a C or a P.
Well, that can help us also. So the managers, when they turn their sheets in, you can make, a mark on you can write on there if he's a pitcher or catcher, so we can put it on
Well, we'll
the
have
board.
separate sheets for pitchers and catchers, so that way we have them separate, because we're not going to add their evaluations into our evaluations.
So this may be far fetched and a lot of work, but I picture the draft board in a perfect world where you have the kids like a baseball card. You have his picture, his position, his years experience.
Gene, if you want to print those and make those, you go right ahead, boo-boo.
You want a fantasy football draft board?
I'm here to tell you, I'm not doing that. Listen, do you know how much I did as member as large? I did just as much as I do now. I do just as much now as I did when I was member at large. I'm just saying. But if you would like that, you are more than welcome to make those. But I will not be making those.
Hey, listen, I'm just trying to say I want a P or a C next to their number on the board. Okay? That's all I care about.
Or a square can be for a P, and a circle can be for a C.
All right, so we got way off track, but I'll re-say it. I'd like to make a motion that after evaluations are over, if a player wants to be a pitcher or a catcher, they need to state that when they pick up their numbers, and we will have a separate pitching and catching evaluation.
Trial basis, or is this permanent?
I'd say it's permanent. We need this because we need to know who the pitchers and the catchers are.
Okay. No,
So, say I second then. Somebody say I second. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye. Okay. Am I missing anything? I think I got it all covered.
It was brought up at the workshop yesterday, but I think it's ridiculous, and it needs to be stated because it was stated last night. But you cannot penalize people for not coming to the evaluation. If you paid to play, then
We just gotta emphasize to these parents how important it is. And,
I agree.
and,
But
and even if I'm looking at the calendar here, so we're doing evals on the 24th and 25th and 26th, makeups on the 27th. Even if the 27th, even if we have a lot more makeups and we can even squeeze in a little makeup before the board review, if we have to. Practices start on February 1st. And opening days on the 13th. You're only getting 2 weeks of practice.
I would also like, as far as baseball, I want any late registrations, say after where we don't get them eval'd. I don't want them placed on a team until I get their name and I see if any of us know what's going on, because I don't really care who's next in line.
Yes.
I don't want someone holding a kid and then saying, okay, sign it now, it's my turn. So I want to, if we can, please, before any baseball players get assigned to any teams after evaluations where it's just blind, I want to see them and I want to make sure, that somebody's not trying to pull something.
Agreed.
I've always given it to the DDs, but I can include you in that as well.
Yes,
Are we doing a
because
cutoff
I will
for
be discussing it with
registration?
the DDs to make
That's on-
sure somebody's not doing something funky.
Old business.
No.
It happens every season.
What?
We just
The
gotta
old-
watch
the
out for Gene.
registration Ending cutoff date.
He's not the one. I trained my guys up.
What would you say, babe?
I'll hold it in.
The sore subject's coming
My
up.
son played basketball, did he quit? Now he wants to win.
Okay, workshops done. Fall review. We pretty much went over that. All right. Old business, spring registration dates and
Yes, we need an end registration date.
okay, cutoff date.
Cutoff date.
Before you charge him the 15.
No, not if you do not sign up by drafts, you're getting charged $15.
I say we'll go to the 12th.
I quit. I get to formally resign.
What are we talking about? I missed that.
The registration. Registration, I want it to end before we do, as soon as we're done doing evals, I want registration to end, so then you don't have.
Okay, one of the real okay, so one of the ways we can end it is if teams get capped off at 12. I don't think there should be any teams that have more than 12 kids on the team.
So if
That's number one.
If we have here's what if we have 60 kids, okay, in 10
6
years,
teams.
that's
6 teams of 10.
6
okay.
teams.
Okay. Now, if we get 61 through 69 are on a waiting list.
Correct.
I agree, 100%.
61 through 69 on the way.
Correct.
I agree,
So,
100%. So we're
I'd
not-
rather take, instead of having an odd number team that would make her life miserable, I would like to take those 9 or 10 kids and split them up on those 6 teams.
Right. You don't want them all
So-
on the team.
so-
You can't. You want to avoid. I'm telling you, odd number teams are a disaster.
Okay, I'm with you. So then, is the model okay? We have 6 teams, so 61 through 66 are on until you get that 6th one, so everybody gets another player. Or are you doing them? Okay, now you have 11 and they all have 10. Okay, now you two have 11 and they all have 10. Are you putting it in a block where they all get another
Then
player?
registration's open for the rest of our lives. I can't. I know you guys. I worked this registration system for the last 3 years, and so that's 6 seasons. There is nothing on this earth more annoying and complicated and just drive you
So
nuts.
this is. Let me ask you this: is it a one-person job?
Uniforms
Yes
are,
and no.
Uniforms are difficult too when you add them up. I mean, from doing uniforms.
It's-
Trust me, Jerry doesn't care, and he ain't turning down money.
No, he's not.
No,
but
he
it's-
doesn't,
it's
but it's still, it's making sure that you got the right uniform and that they have socks. And now
So-
that this person's missing this and this is the wrong size, because we've added this person and now Jerry's added it actually to the
Alright, so-
8U team instead of the 10U team. And it just turns into such a cluster.
So let's think about this, okay? At a realistic, for uniform purposes also. Uniform purposes also.
I would say the latest would be the second practice, which would be that next Tuesday.
I was thinking the 8th.
I don't have the calendar in front of me, so I don't know. But
I was thinking February 8th.
because if you do it by that Tuesday, that gives everybody 1 or 2 practices. Then they know who needs to move up and who needs to move down. Registration's still open, whatever, and then uniforms aren't ordered until that Wednesday or Thursday. And that gives Jerry 2 weeks, is what he asks, is 2 weeks roughly, to be able to get everything done.
So we are done at that point.
We are
Nobody
done.
else
We
is
don't
coming in
take
our league.
anybody else.
They wait for next season.
Correct.
If
Or-
they're brothers, uncles, nephews to the mayor of Royal Palm Beach, it doesn't matter. They're not
yeah.
getting on this league.
I know, but we have to. Like, we can't just have it open
Why
forever.
can't we have it open to the 8th?
Because then we'll end up with a 13th kid on the team.
No, if we get to, I told you.
If you put
We
a cap,
get to
if you put
12
a cap
people,
on
it's
it,
done.
Why even put them on a waiting list if they're never going to get on a team? Why?
But what if you
even-
have 3 teams? Say there's 6 teams. You have 3 teams that have 11, 3 have 12. Why can't you try to fill out those other 3 teams?
You can
everybody's
until
on-
Tuesday.
So
see-
everybody's on an even playing field.
You can
When you
until a certain
register,
date.
when you
that's
register
what-
to
that's
vote,
what-
you
so-
you have until this
So
day.
why can't
That's
we
it.
just push
Period.
it to February 8th?
Hold on, y'all might be talking about the same thing. Let me look at this. Gene,
Opening
Tony,
date's
you
on the
aren't saying
13th.
anything.
I think capping the teams would be the smartest way to do it. And yes, it's going to be a nightmare adding uniforms and players. But
But
as
you-
long as there's a cap,
You still gotta have a date.
I mean, the system requires a date.
So when is the draft?
20.
25th and 20.
No, the draft is the 30th.
Okay.
Practices start. Remember, we're only
Well, it usually is, but we haven't finalized the date, so I haven't put it
we're
on
only
there.
doing 2 weeks of practice.
Hold on a second. So you said by the second practice, the 30th, that's one
Tuesday.
practice, that's
Tuesday's the second.
Tuesday, the second practice.
Well, no, the second practice.
Okay, here's a compromise. We close it on the 5th. That's it. That's a compromise.
February 5th?
That's right between both of y'all.
But that doesn't.
That's a
That
Friday.
gives Jerry 1 week to do all the uniforms. That's not enough. He
No,
wants to.
that's for the
No,
last
that's-
player. That's an add-on.
That's just add-ons. He'll already have the uniform.
It's
only
more a
add-ons.
nightmare for the uniform person, but it's
The 5th.
I was just realizing that. Is that enough time for Jerry to get all this done?
I know, but you're about to knock that flag over.
You mean from the 30th?
It was
we do
enough time
drafts
when we
on
kept my
Saturday,
27th end
so-
date.
So he's basically getting
2
the
weeks.
numbers on Sunday. He can have them done. I'm just.
what
no,
is it?
he
What's
can
the,
do it
what's
in
the
2
date? What
weeks.
is it? Where are we at?
He'll basically get all the numbers on that Sunday, the 31st
30th,
of the team.
30, no, he wouldn't get it till February 1st
Yeah.
on Monday. He would get it on February 1st, and then he'd have to have everything ready by what, the 13th?
Is that enough time?
Are we doing the Friday night
Probably
opening
not
ceremony?
because of
No.
COVID.
Okay. Then yeah, he can get it done. I mean, we can confirm with him, but I'm almost positive Jerry can. Yeah.
You know, think about it. Or do we have to have open today on a Saturday? Since we're not doing the ceremony? Can't we just start games on Monday the 15th?
It's
But you
easier
want,
on
if you do it on Saturday, that way everybody starts in the same
because the
day.
chaos, and then all your games start on one day. That's what
Pictures.
you want.
Are we going to do that again on the first day?
Do we
Picture,
have to?
I liked pictures this time because he did half of them the first Saturday and half of them
Yeah,
the
that's
second.
good.
Nobody likes pictures on the
But
first
not
day.
on not on opening day. I would do
I
them
like them on the very
second
first day
weekend,
because
third
my kid
weekend.
hasn't gotten their uniform dirty.
They're not dirty. They're not ruined.
Yeah,
They're,
they're not by the
Have
second
you
weekend.
met my children?
Well, Jamie.
Or when you have coaches that pick white pants? I'm just saying.
Oh, Tony, white pants.
Yeah, but I mean, I'd rather not do it on let opening day be opening day and do it on the second weekend and the third weekend.
Okay, so Lexi, you're
Yes,
the
sir.
uniform guru.
Yes.
That's enough time for Jerry?
If we turn it on the 1st of February, and yeah, and we're starting on the 13th, yeah, that should be fine.
The problem is too, is softball, like he has baseball uniforms, he can get those
Softball's
like that. Softball take a week.
So then,
So I can't have softball registration open the same as baseball then.
You can,
Yes,
but
yes,
they
because
just
you'll have
gotta
a
They
week
won't
to do
have
it. He'll
by
have a week.
picture.
It'll be fine. He'll have, if we cap it at if we put it until the 5th, is that what we said?
The fifth.
The 5th, then he has an entire week to do it and he'll get the jerseys.
That'll just be extras.
Doesn't he order extra anyway?
No, not for softball.
Softball?
But
Softball's harder.
it's only gonna be extras that he's gotta worry about.
It'll. That's true. Then we can also. That's true. That
To get
helps.
them uniform.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but then kids are playing. See, I don't like this
It's not-
picture on the second, the whatever, because then kids are playing games, 2 games at least, possibly 4. And when you have
They'll get their
certain
uniform.
coaches that want to wear white pants for whatever god awful reason they want to wear white pants, then you got orange kids in pictures. And then who wants to buy those pictures?
I think third is part of baseball.
Tony's team.
Nobody wears
Did
white
Tony's team
pants.
pick white?
No, Dave
picked
Mancuso
white?
did white for the
Oh.
Red Sox one year.
They
Oh,
will be
Tigers,
fine.
or Tigers
They
or
kneel.
something.
They kneel in the grass anyway. You can't even see their pants.
This
It'll
is
be
why
fine.
right-handed God in softball, there is no coaches pick the
It'll be
pants.
fine.
Everybody wears black.
Okay, so
On behalf of all mothers.
are we good with the 5th?
Yes.
Is that a good compromise?
So do you have to?
So it ends on the 6th.
What? No, it
closes
ends on
the
the
5th.
5th.
So the 5th is the last day to get it.
That's it.
11:59, January or February 5th, 2021.
That's it. And then the pictures on the second and third weekend, and if the kids have to kneel in the grass to keep the orange from showing, that's what they gotta do.
Sweet. All right. That takes care of old business. All right.
Vote?
Yeah, do you have to vote on that? On the date? The ending date?
Yes.
It's already
we-
voted on.
No, we voted
Oh,
on the
the ending
calendar.
date.
I'm not the one that wants to change it.
Okay,
I
I'd
want
like
it
to make a
stay how it is.
motion that we close registration on February 5th,
No holds,
2021.
with no holds, no changes, no anything. I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Amen.
Put me as a nay. I do not agree.
Amy, nay.
One nay, please.
Got it.
Okay. Sorry, excuse me here. Okay, open mic. Anybody?
Bueller,
Gene?
Bueller.
Tony?
Of course.
Just one thing, I know in spring,
I can't hear you.
I know in spring, it's hard to keep up with the scores and you gotta get the sheets in it. If I can be of any help, I will do some of those entries for you so we can keep up.
We have competent people this season that will have that done.
Do not mention any names.
But you can definitely, we'll get together and we'll work on getting the sheets there as quickly as possible.
The spring is more competitive.
Right.
To be honest with you, about the score sheets, the way we did it in concessions this year, I mean, I was able to completely who did I hand the umpire book to?
I have
Garbage in, garbage out.
I have it.
Everything, yeah. Well, that's something we're going to go over in the managers meeting, but every umpire sheet from every game was handed in this year.
And it's gotta be on Sundays, we pick them up from
Yep.
the thing because they have to be updated every
Yep.
week for the
Every-
standings, and the
every-
scores and the pitch
Yeah, every
counts
Saturday
and all that
afternoon.
other stuff.
And plus, those are a record copy of payment of umpires, so I do need those back this year.
We also need them for all-stars because your players have to play 50% of the scheduled games to be eligible for
Correct.
all-stars.
Yes.
When they turn them in, 'cause I took a few, 'cause there was, took them in there, you gotta make sure the scores are on there, make sure the pitch, or don't pay the guy. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
not the pitch counts, but he needs to.
Yes, that will be, yes, absolutely. You know, that will be put on the umpires. That those have to be, yeah, for sure.
Just complete, and even if we have to highlight parts of the thing and give them copies, hey, if these highlighted things aren't, you're not getting paid.
I think we're gonna get Gene a box of highlighters for Christmas.
We'll do it. We'll do it.
All right, before you guys go, before I close the meeting, I would like to say a few things. First of all, thank you guys for a good season. It was good. I mean, we only had the 2 hiccups with the 2 teams, quarantine-wise. Other than that, I appreciate all the hard work. Hopefully our spring season's twice as big and twice as fun. And 2021 is 10 times better than 2020. I want to wish everybody happy holidays and a happy new year. Enjoy your time off. Gene, what's it like to be rich?
I know.
No, I'm joking. Have a good time. Where are you going? Nice. All right, I can make a motion to close the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?